Hey y'all, welcome to Be Creative, and today we are going to break down the no rewrite technique, and hopefully by the end of the video, you can apply it to your everyday life. As always, I have the contents of what we're going to go over, and please hit that like button, subscribe, comment below so you can have more content like this. Alright, let's begin. So, I want to do things a little bit differently this time. I'm going to be a little bit more spontaneous with my explanations. I'm going to have an objective list and also something that you're going to do to apply the no rewrite technique. All right, let's get started. We will define what the no rewrite technique is, discuss my personal experience with the no rewrite technique, and go over tips applying the no rewrite technique. You will be able to apply the no rewrite technique in your own writing, whether it's through story, essay, or any document that requires complete sentences. All right, what is the no rewrite technique? The no rewrite technique is something, well, it kind of says in the name, no rewrite. You don't rewrite what you have already written. Simple, right? But a lot of times in writing, there's going to be rewrites, and like times that we might want to start over and start from scratch. But with this technique in particular, we're not going to rewrite. So, I'll give you an example. Let's say you're going to write the next big story. You're going to make mistakes. You are, because we're all human. That's what we're going to do. And we might not see it the first time, but we had to have that willpower to keep going, no matter like what setbacks we might have while we're writing. If we allowed ourselves to just go back like every little word or sentence, we're not going to progress. We're going to like be stuck in that part, and like, oh, something's not right. What is it? Like, stop. Don't worry about that. Your number one goal is to finish. Okay, let me give you another example. So, you you've been at school. You wrote countless essays. Your teacher your teacher gives you this prompt and expects you to write it by a certain amount of time. However, what do they make you write first? They don't get you straight into the final draft. No. That's why they have a rough draft. And with the rough draft, it's meant to be messy. So think about the no rewrite technique being messy. Starting out messy. So you're gonna write like your life's dependent on it. And no matter what, keep moving forward. And then, of course, the revisions are going to come. But do that after you have written the entire thing. Okay? Okay, so let me talk about my personal experience with this technique. Okay? But first of all, let me talk about my setbacks. Because when I write my stories, I tend to fall to like want to revise something. I do, honestly, because I just read back into the previous chapters, and um to get inspiration or that ideas back into my mind of what I'm writing. But sometimes I find myself wanted to like change something, change a word or delete a word, like, and what that does to me, that allows me to stop what I'm doing and stops me reading and moving forward, and I'm worried about this little thing. Am I being petty? Kinda. I am kind of being petty. Because it might be just a word. And like, Brie, you can do that in the revising and editing stage once you finish the book. But I'm too caught up on like fixing it now. I've done that recently. I actually done that recently. I was actually reading back into like a previous chapter, and it was like, you know what? I am going to like put X. I put two X's. See how I remember? I remember that because I did it recently. I put two X's on words I just felt like it didn't make sense, and that stopped me from continuing to write. And that day I only had one sentence. One sentence. If I had not revised those two words, I would have written a few sentences. But let's actually get to me not rewriting the book, okay? Despite me revising. So, when I write, I hate rewriting things, like from scratch completely. That's just not me. Because if I do that, I'm mostly going to write the same story. It might not be in the same words, but it'd be very similar. And I would rather copy and paste my story and try to figure out what to do than just write it from scratch. Like, I actually did that once. But it was not a rewrite. It was not a rewrite. Maybe I rewrote like a couple scenes, a chapter or so, but it was not a whole story. No, I just cannot do that. Okay? It just ruins me. To me, I'd be like, it's a waste of time. Okay? That part wasn't my opinion, okay? But when I write, I do my best to finish it all the way. I read it. Well, no, before reading, you should take a break from it. You should separate yourself from your story so you can have a fresh mind so you can read it. And you might notice more things having a fresh mind than, let's say, a cluttered one. What I mean by cluttered? Well, what I mean by cluttered is you have all these thoughts like coming at you all in the same time, and you're like, what should I do? What should I do? Well, that's why you gotta take yourself out of there. If it has to be a few days, weeks, months, take your time. Take your time. Sometimes you have to do that. And that's fine. That's fine. Okay. So I've written a few short stories. I try to write it all the way through without revising and editing, no matter how crappy, well, the dialogue sounds. But, I take my time, I write it all the way, I don't look at it, and if I feel like there's something that needs to get out of there, I'll do it. Alright? And sometimes starting from scratch might be the answer. But sometimes not starting from scratch could also be the answer. And a lot of times, for me, starting from scratch no. So, this technique pretty much prevents me from rewriting the story from scratch. And if you're someone who doesn't like doing anything from scratch, I highly recommend you do the no rewrite technique. Alrighty, now I'm going to go over some tips of applying the no rewrite technique. So first of all, write to your heart's content. What do I mean by that? So you're writing this down. You're writing whatever is on your mind. And you just can't wait to put it on paper, on computer, wherever you could access something to write or place something down. You're like, it's like on a marathon, like for hours and hours, and it's like going on this marathon. And writing feels like a marathon because like you can pace yourself. Go your own race. It's you versus you. And there's no one stopping you. So do not allow anyone to stop you from writing. Do not allow anyone to take away your creativity of writing. Just write. Tip number 2, avoid revising and editing during your writing. Okay? So this can come to rough drafts, or if you want to call them drafts. So when you revise and edit something, that stops you from writing. That stops you from your creative mind to what you're going to put on that paper next, just because you saw an error. Don't do it. It's not going to be worth it. Why? Because you'll be wasting your time on probably a sentence. I'm probably stuck on that sentence of like what you're going to do to like probably make it better. That's what the revising and editing process is for. Use the revising and editing process as your advantage to look line by line in your writing, not during the writing process. My third tip I want to go over is don't give up. Why do I say that? Writing can be hard. It can. Writing a book can be hard. Like you could try it, but there's gonna be a lot of like obstacles, such as time, the place, and sometimes doubt, because doubt can kick in and just mess you up. Doubt can come and tell you you're not going to finish that book. You'll never get to the next chapter. You'll never be able to achieve what you want to achieve because you're stuck. And some people could also say that writer block can come in, and writer's block is pretty much when you're stuck in writing. And sometimes your mind can be like, "Oh, great. You know what? I'm not going to write today." And you can't allow that to give in. You just can't. I'm encouraging you to keep going. No matter what gets in your way. Keep writing. All right. Takeaways. We defined the no rewrite technique, discussed the personal experience and ways to apply the no rewrite technique, and we are capable to apply the no rewrite technique in our writing, whether it's through story, essay, or any document that requires complete sentences. If you made it to the end of the video, comment no rewrite and tell me some experiences that you have with writing, and also what other writing techniques do you want me to cover on this channel. As always, thank you for watching Breathe Creative and stay creative.